Hello, Board Chair Coleman and honorable board members. I am Scott Schneider, a father to one high school senior and one high school freshman, husband of 20 years to an amazing educator, and I myself am a 25-year educator that began as a middle school special education teacher. I am grateful to be speaking to each of you as we share a heart for serving children in our community. I thank you for the opportunity to share my ideas and service as being considered for St. Johns County's next superintendent. Although most people believe compensation is the main reason teachers leave education, this does not align with teacher national polls and local teacher exit interviews. Actually, teachers leave the profession because they do not feel valued and appreciated, are overwhelmed due to the lack of support, and yes, compensation does have a place as well. As superintendent, I would focus on 4 key areas: empowerment, voice, compensation, and support to intentionally recruit and retain quality teachers. Empowering teachers through earned autonomy is crucial for fostering innovation and investment in teacher roles. When teachers have the professional freedom to choose strategies that align with standards and student needs, they are more likely to take ownership and feel that they are valued as professionals. This results in their positive contribution to the educational environment at their school, inside their classroom, and ultimately impacts the school culture as a whole. It is also important to establish teacher-led committees to allow educators to utilize Tier 1 and Tier 2 curriculum supports and adjust lesson plans as needed, further enhancing their sense of ownership and commitment. Our teachers need to know and feel our investment in them as professionals over the investment in programs. Elevating and acting on teacher voice is another essential aspect of retaining quality educators. Teachers who feel heard are more likely to contribute meaningfully and remain committed to their roles. I will ensure there is a standing teacher advisory council to advise district and school leaders on policies and initiatives, so teachers' perspectives are considered in decision-making processes. Once we listen, we must also provide transparent feedback where leadership publicly responds to teacher input with transparent updates on actions taken or rationale to reinforce the value of those teacher contributions. Now to compensation. Competitive compensation with performance incentives is a powerful tool for signaling respect and rewarding impact. We must use a current millage rate increase to find competitive wages for our educators. The 4% raises were a great start. I also am in support of implementing tiered retention bonuses at 3, 5, and 10 years, and bonuses for high-need subjects or hard-to-staff schools. This demonstrates a commitment to retaining experienced educators as well as those certified in high-needed areas. We must also celebrate and compensate teacher leaders. Although I know the importance in a leadership pipeline, that does not mean that all teacher leaders need to move into the administrative ranks. Providing performance-based stipends for teachers leading professional learning communities, mentoring, or showing high student growth acknowledges their efforts and achievements. As a district, we must continue to stay abreast of comprehensive competitive benefits throughout our state and adjust accordingly to remain attractive to quality, new, and experienced teachers. In addition to these strategies, it is necessary for teachers to know they have support. They are not alone. I'm an advocate for leaders leading leaders and teachers supporting teachers. Yes, I am a believer in district-led professional development, but there needs to be established cohorts so our practitioners have support from actual practitioners. Teacher support can also be achieved through teacher rounding, which involves teachers observing high-performing colleagues to discuss their needs, challenges, and successes, fostering a collaborative environment amongst colleagues that also creates a sense of belonging. As mentioned earlier, we must ensure our teachers feel valued, appreciated, receive competitive wages, and are supported in order for them to thrive and choose to stay in St. Johns County. When selecting school leaders, I believe in building a strong, sustainable leadership pipeline that begins in the classroom and continues through sitting principals. We identify high-performing teachers with leadership potential and invest in their development early through roles like department chairs, instructional coaches, or mentors. These emerging leaders are given real responsibility inside their schools and coaching, which helps us assess their readiness while preparing them for the next level. Our current aspiring principals would be provided the opportunity to gain experience in implementing sustainable, data-driven systems for continuous improvement in transformational leadership, instruction, and professional learning through emerging leaders progression. The leadership pipeline would also include opportunities outside of the school district, such as taking advantage of the Chancellor's Leadership Academy. This academy is directly aligned to key leadership characteristics and can absolutely benefit our employees as well. The formal selection process for school leaders is multi-tiered and performance-based. We include authentic leadership tasks such as data analysis, team facilitation, and school improvement planning. We also involve stakeholders that include panel teachers, parents, and even students, because the best leaders serve the entire school community. We're not just hiring managers, we're selecting instructional leaders and culture builders. The school-based leader must be able to be the face of the school in good times and during times of potential crisis. They must be able to develop, maintain, and articulate an effective vision while knowing how to gain buy-in from all stakeholders. The specific qualities I look for in a school leader fall into two main buckets: instructional leadership and cultural leadership. On the instructional side, I want leaders who deeply understand teaching and learning, who can coach teachers, lead data conversations, and design systems that raise achievement. Ultimately, I need them to think like a teacher and lead courageously. On the culture side, I look for someone who can set a clear vision, build trust, and create a safe environment where teachers and students can thrive. I want leaders who listen, who communicate clearly, and who develop talent. And above all, they must be results-oriented and resilient, able to navigate challenges while staying focused on students. As for when a principal change may be necessary, I always start with a support and coaching first and evaluate second mentality. But if we see persistent drops or stagnation in student achievement, that's a red flag. If staff morale remains low, or if families and students consistently express concern despite intervention, we have to take that seriously. Leadership matters, and if a school isn't improving after targeted support, we must be willing to make difficult decisions in the best interest of students. I think of every student as if they are one of my own. I must continue to ask myself the question, would I want my children to attend this school in its current state? My goal is to always grow leaders, but also to ensure every child is learning in a high-performing, well-led school. Fostering transparency, trust, and collaboration among all stakeholders is a must, and that is why we need to ensure we have an effective district-wide communication plan. As superintendent, I believe that our communication plan needs to involve several key structures to ensure effective communication with all stakeholders. For the school board, there will be a weekly board update through a Friday memo that includes data initiative updates, celebrations, and key issues. Additionally, weekly meetings with the board chair and bi-weekly meetings with each board member during our one-on-ones will be to discuss district performance, policies, planning, and additional board member matters. Real-time alerts will also be provided for immediate updates on urgent matters. The goal is that board members will never be caught off guard by any information that we currently already have. For parents and the community, in addition to the regularly scheduled board meetings and workshops, quarterly town hall meetings will be organized as rotating in-person forums to listen, inform, and respond. Monthly newsletters will be distributed digitally to highlight achievements, events, and resources. Social media and the website will be frequently updated to ensure wide access to information. Annual surveys will be conducted to gather input for continuous improvement. I am also committed to notifying parents and community members as critical information arises, such as approaching storms, district challenges, or district celebrations that are time sensitive. We want to keep our parents and community in the know as we foster true partnerships for student success. Teacher and staff will be engaged through monthly teacher representative meetings where voices from every school can share input and drive collaboration. Quarterly email updates will focus on key initiatives and celebrations. I will conduct school visits and listening tours to provide ongoing, direct engagement with staffs at all school sites. I also commit to notifying teachers, staff, and all employees as critical information arises that is time sensitive. Communication will be tailored to different audiences to ensure effectiveness. For the school board, the approach will be strategic and data-informed with content focused on policy, finance, legislative, and performance updates through proactive, clear, and concise briefings. For parents in the community, the dissemination of information will be welcoming and encouraging with content focused on student success, safety, resources, and events that will be accessible and encourages two-way engagement. For teachers and staff, the dissemination of information will be respectful and collaborative with content focused on instructional priorities, operations, and recognition that will be actionable, transparent, and responsive. At the end of the day, the outcome of the communication plan will create a culture where all stakeholders feel informed, respected, and involved in shaping the future of our schools. The line of communication starts with me as the superintendent, but must become second nature through building consistent, processes that can be trusted by all stakeholders and consistently monitored to ensure we are still accomplishing the goal of fostering transparency, trust, and collaboration among all stakeholders and make adjustments as needed. I, Scott Schneider, once again, thank you for the opportunity to share my ideas and service as being considered for St. Johns County School District's next superintendent. I do hope the next time you see me is actually in person and that I get to know each of you better as well as your ideas for where you see St. Johns County School District in the near future. Thank you for continuing to ensure all students receive a world-class education.